Being the longest running rhythm game series to date, starting all the way back in 1997, there are a couple of games in the Beatmania series. If you consider the fact that Beatmania and Beatmania 3 were discontinued for the sake of moving forward with Beatmania IIDX, then the series has been running for an absolutely staggering 28 years. It goes almost as far back as possible when it comes to rhythm games, and it's still going. Over the years on the channel, we've talked a bit about Beatmania. The game has spawned so many iconic features and mechanics now present in modern rhythm games, and even inspired a few other games that went on to have their own massively storied histories running nearly as long. But as of today, Beatmania remains the longest running active game, with Beatmania IIDX getting a new numbered version roughly every 10 months or so. Of course, the original series, Beatmania 3 and IIDX, all have a number of entries, but Beatmania is a franchise known for lots of side games and spin-offs too. I've always wanted to take a look at these, and in the process of doing some research, I started wondering, how many games are there in the whole series? I mean, this is a franchise that spans almost 3 decades, has versions for consoles, arcade, phones, and more, with all sorts of weird side entries and spin-offs waiting to be discovered. I thought it might be a fun exercise to take a look at all the games in the Beatmania series, and also to take a slightly more detailed look at some of the weirder stuff along the way. So, how many Beatmania games are there? It's 52, right? Hey everyone, just want to stop in quick and say if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'm pushing for 10k subs this year, and I think we can get there with just a little targeted effort. Also, of course, my Patreon is in the description as well if you want early access to my videos or bonus or behind the scenes content. Okay, that's all the plugging for now. On with the video. So the intro probably gives it away, but there aren't exactly just 52 Beatmania games. Before we start counting, we actually need to step backwards a bit and define what exactly a Beatmania game is, because this is going to become a relevant factor in just a little bit. So I set out first to define what we're counting as a Beatmania game. The main 2 criteria are that it is named Beatmania, or well, has Beatmania in the name, and has rhythm game gameplay. I'm not going to be specific and say Beatmania gameplay, because that itself has changed a few times over the years. Though, I think you get what I mean when I say this, so despite looking for rhythm game gameplay, if any of it differs too much from the expected type of gameplay, I won't count it. I'm also not restricting this to games that have a turntable. It removes the purity a bit, but honestly this isn't interesting at all unless we add this rule, so add it I shall. Okay, I think we've done enough qualifiers, let's start counting. I'll throw a running count at the bottom of the screen as needed. First up, the obvious stuff. Let's eat our vegetables and start counting the numbered mainline entries. Starting with the original Beatmania and going basically in numbered order gives us Beatmania, or first mix, second mix, third mix, complete mix, fourth mix, fifth mix, complete mix 2, sixth mix, seventh mix, and the final, bringing our starting count to 10. Simple stuff to start here. One other thing we can mention here too is that we are not counting regional localized releases as separate games in this list. So for example, Beat Stage Complete Mix and Hip Hop Mania Complete Mix do not add to the counter. Additionally, under the Beatmania umbrella are what I would call Beatmania AC spin-offs. These are the slightly odd ones out for the original Beatmania series, that being Club Mix, Core Remix, and Dreams Come True. This brings the total count of games for the original Beatmania to 13. Beatmania 3 is a bit quicker, as it was comprised entirely of append mixes and also the final, those being Beatmania 3, Append Core Remix, Append 6th Mix, Append 7th Mix, and Beatmania 3 the final, giving us another quick 5 to add to our total, bringing us up to 18. Now, moving on to IIDX, I know what you're thinking. Oh, this part is easy, it's numbered for us. There are 33 Beatmania IIDX games. To which I say to you, wrong! There are 34, thanks to our odd one out friend, Beatmania IIDX Substream. Beatmania IIDX Substream is pretty cool because it contains a long dormant feature of older Beatmania games where you could link play between other games. Substream allowed for link play between it and DDR Second Mix Club version. A handful of other older Beatmania games had this feature as well. They must have really liked this feature around that time. The idea of Link playing with another entirely different game is pretty cool, though probably kind of niche considering you'd have to have the space and the machines to support the setup. So with Substream in mind, I am going to go through and count all of these mixes just for the hell of it, so let's go. Notably, the numbered versions in 2DX are marked with style instead of the mix used in the original Beatmania series. Okay, so Beatmania 2DX, or first style, Substream, second style, third style, fourth style, fifth style, sixth style, seventh style, eighth style, ninth style, 10th style, 2DX Red, Happy Sky, Distorted. DJ Troopers, Empress, Sirius, Resort Anthem, Linkle, Tricoro, Spada, Pendule, Copula, Xenobuzz, Cannonballers, Rootage, Heroic Verse, Beast Rover, Cast Hour, Resident, Epolis, Pinky Crush, and Sparkle Shower. 34 games to add to our total, bringing us up to 52. This is where I got the 52 number from earlier. Every arcade version of Beatmania to date. But if we stopped here, that wouldn't really make for an interesting video, now would it? Next up is consoles. Alright, so now is where things start to get a bit more complicated. There are home versions of 5-key and 7-key Beatmania. The 5-key versions have key discs and append discs. The key discs are like the base version, and we can add these to the total. Beatmania CS, Best Hits, Dreams Come True, Sound of Tokyo, and 6th Plus Core Remix. This brings our total up to 57. The append discs are a bit different. They can only be booted up by putting a key disc in and using the disc change feature. This will allow you to load the append discs up. We have 8 append discs. Yebisu Mix, 3rd Mix Mini, 3rd Mix, Gotta Mix, 4th Mix, 5th Mix, Gotta Mix 2, and Club Mix. However, I'm not going to add all 8 of these to the count. The reason being, some of the append discs don't have save files. Some will save your game separately, and some won't. Since we're talking about what counts as a Beatmania game, I'm going to say a game without its own save file will not count. So we are throwing out Yebisu Mix, 3rd Mix Mini, 3rd Mix, and Gotta Mix. No save file, doesn't count. Sorry guys. Adding the append discs with save files adds 4 more to our count, bringing us to 61. While we're on the subject of disc swapping shenanigans present in Beatmania CS versions, there was an even more obscure feature of the disc swapping mode called Bonus Edit. Where the append discs require a single disc switch, Bonus Edit requires multiple disc switches. So, for example, for 4th Mix Bonus Edit, you start on Beatmania CS, then swap to Append 3rd Mix or Append Gotta Mix, then swap to Append 4th Mix. This gives you Bonus Edit exclusive songs. Seems pretty wild to have to own all these discs to swap to play these niche songs. I'd imagine putting these together today is pretty tough. Beatmania 2DX also has its own CS versions, but these are thankfully much simpler. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, Red, Happy Sky, Distorted, DJ Troopers, and Empress. Empress also came with a second disc titled Premium Best. Where the main disc is all Empress content, Premium Best contains some revived content up to DJ Troopers. It's a really killer all-in-one package, and I would assume was likely made knowing that it would be the last traditional CS version for Beatmania 2DX. We're counting this as only one game, by the way. This brings our total up by 14 to 75. Quite a lot of games. There are a couple outliers here that we haven't hit yet that most people are probably aware of. First up is Beatmania 2DX Ultimate Mobile. This is a mobile port of Beatmania 2DX, and actually gets updates quite regularly. It also seems to be Konami's preferred way to release official audio of songs from Beatmania 2DX, as it has a dedicated music player mode. I never really understood the appeal of this game, as playing on a phone is not exactly the most comfortable thing, and somewhat more bafflingly, they seem to always advertise a method of play for this game being connecting a whole, real, full-ass controller to your phone and playing it that way, which is insane to me. It's also the only game of the Ultimate Mobile series to actually release, but those could probably be talked about in their own video. There is also, of course, Beatmania 2DX Infinitas, the PC home version of Beatmania 2DX you play on a subscription and song pack basis. Infinitas has been running for quite a while now, since all the way back in 2015. Infinitas has had a mixed reception over the span of its life, but remains the most legitimate way to play Beatmania 2DX at home. Though I would say that unless you're a hardcore player, Infinitas and most of the Konami games' pricing is not really worth it. They can get pretty expensive. Lastly are two phone games, but not smartphone games, just phone games. There were two versions of Beatmania for flip phones. Beatmania IIDX and Beatmania 2DX IIDX. On screen right now is 2DX IIDX. There's a good amount of footage of this one. Judging by the song lists on RemiWiki, this game was supported for quite a long time, with tons of updates through the Konami Net DX service. This service was supported until April 30th, 2016, which is kind of wild. That means that Konami Net and Infinitas were at one point alive at the same time. Konami Net DX had all sorts of stuff on it, like ringtones, games, wallpapers, and it was even where you went to view eAmusement information before eAmusement Gate was created, which became the modern eAmusement site we know today. While there's tons of footage of Beatmania 2DX IIDX out there, the story is not the same for Beatmania IIDX. In fact, I'm not 100% sure, but this game might be lost media, or it's at least partially lost. I couldn't find any gameplay of Beatmania IIDX anywhere on YouTube or Nico Nico using what searching I could in Japanese. I found 2DX IIDX there though. RemiWiki seems to be really the only place that has documented this game existing, at least in English, and they have the original site archived, so they're definitely different games. If you have seen footage of this game, let me know, because I sure couldn't find it. Anyway, these odd outliers add 4 more to our total, bringing us to 79. So, 79, pretty good. Quite a few games and spin-offs, and even some weird stuff. But I know you, viewer. I know what you're here for. The real weird shit. It's time to start digging into the strange side of Beatmania. So, does Beatmania on Game Boy count? That's right, there's Beatmania on Game Boy. Beatmania GB was developed not by the main Beatmania division, but by KCEK, or Konami Computer Entertainment, based in Kobe, in 2002. The game itself is what you'd expect. It's vertically scrolling rhythm gaming on your Game Boy. But I think the really interesting thing here is that they went out of their way to make some really solid 8-bit renditions of classic Beatmania songs. And the recreated background animations look awesome too. There were a few of these: Beatmania GB, GB2 Gotcha Mix, and GB2 Gotcha Mix 2. That's not confusing at all. So that adds 3 more to our counter. But playing Beatmania on the go is really fun. So how about Beatmania for WonderSwan? That's right, the estranged cousin of the Game Boy, the WonderSwan, also has a Beatmania game. This game features pretty notably worse visuals, but makes up for that by having audio quality much more true to the original music. While the 8-bit audio in Beatmania GB is a nice touch, having audio much closer to the original is really cool. Also, Beatmania for WonderSwan has a turntable attachment. It's basically just a piece of plastic that clips over a couple of the buttons that press them when you turn the turntable. But the idea is what counts, and I think it's a cute idea to have a little turntable, even if the positioning on the top end of the device is a bit odd. So, +1 to our counter. But I know what you're saying. Come on, you got something weirder than that. Fine, okay, you win. You know about Beatmania GB, Beatmania for WonderSwan, Beatmania IIDX, but do you know about Mahoromatic, Moeto Kira Kira Maid-san? Okay, so in 2003, Konami made a visual novel called Mahoromatic Moeto Kira Kira Maid-san. It is for all intents and purposes a visual novel. However, the game features a few minigames. And one of them is Beatmania. And I mean, it's not even like a dumbed down version. It's fucking Beatmania. But this game doesn't count for our list. It misses one criteria. This is not a Beatmania game. It is a visual novel with a Beatmania minigame. So we're not counting this one. It is a hilarious footnote though. Okay, so surely this is everything, right? Surely nothing else could pad our count. We sit at a very sizable 83. We must have everything covered by now. The Beatmania Pocket is a series of handheld toys that started production in 1998. There are pocket versions of basically every Beatmania game of the time. And of course, there are a ton of Beatmania ones. Summer Mix, 2000, Konamix, there were a ton of these. And by that I mean, a ton. Sure, there were some pretty standard ones, but how about Beatmania Pocket Annie Song, Hello Kitty, Tokimeki Memorial? How about a Beatmania Pocket themed on canned coffee? That's right, Beatmania Pocket Enjoy Georgia's Signature. There were an absolute boatload of these. For Beatmania, my count is 17. Now, technically these are an exception. They don't have Beatmania in the name, but I'm counting them. They have Beatmania gameplay, including a turntable, and also, even though the series is called Beatmania Pocket, the ones that weren't Beatmania don't have Beatmania in their name. It was just DDR Pocket, or Paradise Pocket. And may I remind everyone that Beatmania is indeed a shortening of Beatmania. So I'm counting it. That brings our total all the way up to 100. 100 Beatmania games. Surely we've seen them all now. We've covered pocket toys, phone games, portable systems, arcade games. We've stretched all across the games industry. We can actually still add one more system to scrape out a few more, PC. We can't forget about the typing games, Beatmania Da, Best Da, and Da Da Da. I've talked about this series in another video before, but it was a series of instructional typing games themed around Beatmania. Beatmania Da was actually lost media for a little bit. The Lost Media Wiki also asserts that Beatmania Da was the only PC Beatmania game until Infinitas came out, which is kinda insane. It has Beatmania in the name, and vertically scrolling gameplay, just with a whole lot of buttons. So we're counting it, 103. So with all that said, I know what you're thinking. Does the slot machine count?
Ready for takeoff!
So, there is a Beatmania slot machine. I actually got to try this out at MagFest this year. One of the arcade vendors brought it with and had it in the arcade vendor suite. Also, apparently some Japanese Pachislot blog thing seems to have found the fact that we were playing this very funny. This thing was produced by KPE, Konami's now defunct Pachinko and Pachislot division. This is the same division of Konami that produced the infamous Metal Gear Solid Pachinko machine back when they fired Kojima. They also made such classics as the Mahjong Fight Club Pachislot. Despite this being a Pachislot, it has an infamous mode where you get to pick and play some Beatmania songs as part of the bonus mode, complete with charts made for the slot machine.
The most appropriate song.
Honestly, it's a fun mode. I'm sure myself and other rhythm gamers attest that this would have worked on us if we saw this in a pachinko parlor. The rest of the game is your standard Pachislot affair, though notably, the game features a lot of character bios for the Beatmania characters. Also, they released a whole OST for the Pachislot, which is how you're hearing the line-in version of the trance mode OST. A lot of the background music is really nice. This game is named Beatmania, and it has Beatmania gameplay. So it counts. Beatmania game, bringing our total to 104. But what if I told you there was a second slot machine? 7's Beatmania IIDX edition was another slot machine with a Beatmania theme. Unfortunately, this one is significantly less notable. They removed the Beatmania gameplay minigame, instead replacing it with a bonus mode where you select a song from Beatmania and play the bonus mode during that. It seems like there might be some sort of like timing element to the bonus mode as you get a grade at the end, but this is different enough from Beatmania that we're not counting it. So no, not a Beatmania game, despite the name and theming. And I think that's it. Totaling up all the console and arcade releases, spin-offs, Beatmania Pockets, and everything else, even the damn slot machine, our total comes to 104 Beatmania games, as of the creation of this video, and to my knowledge. This number will actually be out of date by the end of the year, as new Beatmania 2DX versions come out roughly every 10 months, so when 2DX 34 comes out later this year, we'll have to add one to the counter. Beatmania is one of Konami's big three rhythm games alongside Sound Voltex and DDR, so I don't see it going anywhere yet, leaving room for that number to keep creeping up even higher. Somewhat unsurprisingly, the rhythm game franchise that has been running the longest also has the most games, and it's a testament to its staying power that it has had so many releases and it's still running today. It's clear that in the 2000s they were trying a lot of different things and seeing what stuck, but the game has settled into a rhythm and commands a consistent release schedule and a dedicated player base. It should be around for many years to come, so if you've never played one of the OG rhythm games before, grab one of the 104 Beatmania games and give it a try. Thanks for watching, and thanks so much to my supporters on Patreon. Check out my Twitter, Twitch, and community Discord. Links are in the description below. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.